They laughed at the broken alien child, until a human took his hand and said, "You're mine now."
6 months had passed since the broadcast that shook the stars. Tiri's message had spread to every corner of the galaxy. Protests had flared. Debates had started. And slowly, old enemies began to speak to each other, not with guns, but with words. The Union never admitted its crimes. But they stopped sending hunters. They pretended nothing happened, but beneath that silence, something darker was growing, on the edge of known space. Inside a cold station hidden inside an asteroid field, a shadowy figure stood before a screen. Dozens of Marduk hybrids were visible, young, strong, gifted, some just children, others already trained. "They're multiplying," the voice on the screen said. "What began as one spark is becoming a wildfire." The figure turned. His face was hidden under a silver mask. "They were warned," he said coldly. "Now they will learn." Back on the peaceful moon, Cal stood at the edge of a field, watching Tiri help build a school. Children, human, alien, and hybrid, played in the sunlight. Verakai walked up beside him. He's smiling more now. "He earned that smile," Cal replied. "So did you." They both watched as Tiri helped a smaller child climb up a wall using his powers, floating gently like a feather. "They're learning control," Verakai said. "They'll need it," Cal muttered. She frowned. "You still feel it, don't you?" He nodded slowly. "This piece. It's real, but fragile. Too fragile." Then the warning beacon went off. Cal's face changed instantly. He ran to the comms panel. Lynn's face appeared on screen, older, wearier, and covered in dust. "We've got movement," she said. 3 colonies hit. No survivors. Union? Cal asked. She shook her head. "Worse. Tech is advanced. Tactics brutal. No markings, no demands." Cal narrowed his eyes. "Same as the old Black Ops?" "Same gear, same silence. But these ones, they're not following Union orders. There's something else." Verakai stepped closer. "Why now?" Lynn's voice dropped. "They're looking for something. Or someone." Everyone knew what she meant. Tiri. Later that night, Cal sat with Tiri near a fire. The boy looked older now. Taller. Stronger. His powers were growing every day. "Why are they still afraid of me?" Tiri asked. "Because you proved they were wrong," Cal said. "They built everything on hate. You break that. But I don't want to hurt anyone. And that's why you're dangerous," Cal said with a grin. "You give people another choice." Tiri looked at the stars. "Are there more like me?" "Yes," Cal said. "And you're going to help guide them," Tiri turned. "Me?" "You. Don't get to be normal anymore, kid. You're the first. You're the reason others will stand up." The boy looked nervous, but nodded. "I'll try." Cal placed a hand on his shoulder. "That's all any of us can do." Far away, inside a dark chamber deep within Union space, masked figures sat at a long table. The leader stood. "The broadcast damaged us," she said. "Public trust is failing. Colonies are speaking of unity, balance, peace." Disgust rippled through the room. "But we have a plan. Project Nightseed is active. The hybrids will not be the future. We will burn them out. Quietly, completely." She raised a hand. "Begin phase 2. And across the stars, as new fires were lit in the hearts of the young, a quiet war began. Not for land, not for power. But for the future itself. The sky above Ridgepoint 7 was clear again, but the silence felt heavier than before. Everyone in the colony knew the truth now. The Union wanted Tiri gone, erased. Not because he was a threat, but because he was something new. Something powerful. Something they couldn't control. Cal paced inside the old comms tower, working fast with Lynn and a few trusted engineers. Screens flickered. Static buzzed. Verakai stood nearby, holding Tiri's hand. "You're sure about this?" Lynn asked. Cal nodded. We send the message to every open frequency. Civilian, pirate, rebel, even Union-secured lines. They'll come for us. They already did. He looked at Tiri. If the galaxy sees what he is, what he can be, they won't be able to lie anymore. Verakai touched Cal's arm. And if they try to kill us before the signal goes out, then we hold them off until it does. Tiri, step forward. I want to speak. Everyone paused. Cal kneeled beside him. You don't have to. Yes, Tiri said. They need to hear it from me. Cal nodded slowly. Okay, kid, your show. They connected the tower's transmitter. Old, rusty, but still strong enough to reach across systems. Cal adjusted the mic. Verakai stood behind her son, silent and proud. Lynn gave the signal. You're living 5, 4, 3. The red light blinked on. Tiri looked into the camera. He wasn't shaking. He wasn't scared. He was ready. My name is Tiri, he said softly. I am a child. I am Marnock. I am human. I am both. Across planets and ships, screens lit up. People in stations. Soldiers in bunkers, workers in mines. Refugees in deep space. All watching. The Union says I am a danger, Tiri continued. But I didn't hurt anyone. They came to kill me because I exist. His voice grew stronger. But I am not alone. There are others like me. There will be more. You cannot stop change. You cannot kill the future. Behind him, Cal crossed his arms. Verakai placed her hands on her son's shoulders. Tiri finished his message. You can fear me. Or you can stand with me. I choose peace. Do you? The screen went black. The signal was sent. All of it. 10 minutes later, the first Union warship arrived in orbit. It didn't fire. It didn't threaten. It just hovered there. Waiting. Then came another ship. And another. Not Union. Not enemies. Just people. Traitors. Miners. Civilians. And rebels. All answering the same message. Cal stood outside with Verakai. And Tiri, watching the sky fill with lights. You just lit a fire, Cal said quietly. Tiri nodded. Now they see me. Verakai whispered. What happens next? Cal looked up. They choose. In the following days, news spread like wildfire. Protests, support, outrage, hope. Union leaders denied everything. But it was too late. The people had seen the truth. Some still feared him, but many believed. They believed peace was possible. That maybe, just maybe, humanity and the Marnock weren't enemies anymore. They were the beginning of something new. Months later, on a peaceful moon. Far from the Union's reach, Cal walked beside a small garden. Tiri ran ahead, laughing, his powers under control, his heart full of light. Verakai smiled, watching her son grow. They weren't hiding anymore. They were building. And behind them, across the stars, others were rising. Children born of two worlds. Children who would carry the future, not as weapons. Not as threats, but as hope. And it all began with one human, who chose to care when no one else would. The first shot came without warning. A flash of blue light burst through the colony gate, tearing apart the metal door like paper. Dust and fire flew everywhere. People screamed. Alarms echoed through the canyon. The Black Ops unit was here. And they weren't hiding anymore. Cal slammed the door shut behind him and locked it. Lynn moved fast, handing rifles to the people inside. Verakai stayed near Tiri, shielding him with her body. They're cutting off exits, Lynn said. This isn't a raid, it's a full strike. How many? Cal asked. Too many, she said. At least 20. All armed. No marks. No IDs. Then we hold the line. Cal checked his weapon, rolled his neck, and took a position. By the window. Outside, dark shapes moved between the rocks, silent, smooth, and deadly. They advanced quickly, taking cover, surrounding the colony building by building. They're going to breach soon, Lynn muttered. Verakai turned toward Cal. If they get inside, they'll kill everyone, not just us. I know. She looked at her sleeping son. We can't let that happen. As if hearing her words, Tiri's eyes suddenly opened. He gasped for breath and sat up, his hands glowing faintly with soft green light. Tiri! Verakai cried, "You're awake!" He looked around, confused, scared. Then his eyes locked onto Cal. "They're coming," the boy said. "I know, kid," Cal said. "But we're not going down easy." Tiri slid off the cot. His legs shook, but he stood. "I can help," Cal blinked. "You sure?" "Last time it knocked you out." Tiri nodded. "I can do more now." The door behind them exploded. Smoke filled the air. 2 Black Ops soldiers rushed in. Black armor. No faces, no hesitation. Before Lin could shoot, Tiri raised one hand. A wave of force blasted out from him like a shockwave, invisible but powerful. The soldiers were thrown backward, slammed into the wall, and fell limp. Everyone in the room went still. Cal turned to the boy, stunned. "You weren't kidding." Tiri's voice was calm now. "I hear them." "Hear who?" "The mines outside. They are afraid." Verakai knelt next to him, touching his cheek. "How are you doing this?" "I don't know," he said. "It just feels right." More footsteps echoed down the hall. More soldiers. "Get ready," Lin shouted. But this time, Tiri stepped forward. "I'll stop them." Cal grabbed his shoulder. "Not alone, kid." Tiri looked up. "I'm not alone." The next wave hit. 4 soldiers burst into the hall, weapons raised. Tiri closed his eyes, and the lights exploded overhead. A pulse of raw energy blasted through the hallway. The soldiers dropped their weapons, screaming in pain. Their armor cracked and shorted out. Their minds overwhelmed. It lasted only a few seconds. Then silence. Again. No more footsteps. No more shooting. Just the hum of power fading from the air. Tira. I opened his eyes slowly. "They ran," he whispered. "They're gone." Outside, scanners confirmed it. The Black Ops forces were pulling back, retreating fast. Whatever they saw in that moment, it terrified them. Cal lowered his weapon. "Well, damn," he muttered. "Remind me never to make that kid angry." Lin leaned on her rifle, wide-eyed. That wasn't just power. That was control. Verakai held her son close. "He's becoming something more." Cal nodded. "And now the galaxy will want him more than ever." Tiri looked out the window, watching the stars. "They'll be back," he said. "And they'll bring bigger weapons. Then we take the fight to them," Cal said. Lin raised a brow. "You serious?" "Dead serious." Cal said, "If they want to erase him, we'll make sure the whole galaxy sees him first." The mining colony was built inside a canyon, hidden beneath layers of rust-colored rock. From above, it looked like nothing more than dust and broken metal. But below, it still lived. Old machines, forgotten tech, people who didn't want to be found. Cal's ship dropped hard onto one of the landing pads, engines coughing out smoke. He barely kept it upright. "We're here," he muttered, shutting the power off. Verakai looked out the window. "Where is here?" "Ridgepoint 7, Cal said. "Last place I called home after the war." She looked around. The place seemed dead. Until movement came. A tall woman stepped out of a metal shack. She wore a thick coat, goggles, and carried a heavy pulse rifle on her back. Her face was scarred, but her eyes were sharp, and they locked on Cal the moment she saw him. She marched forward. Cal opened the hatch and stepped out. "Still breathing, Lin?" he asked. The woman didn't smile. She punched him in the jaw. "That's for disappearing," she snapped. Then she helped him stand. "Now tell me why the hell you brought heat to my door." "Missed you too," Cal groaned. "I need help, real help." She looked past him, saw Verakai, saw Tiri, and something changed in her face. "You brought one of them here?" "I brought them," Cal said. "Both of them." Lin's eyes narrowed. You're insane, maybe, but I trust them. She looked at Verakai. You trust him? Verakai nodded once. With my life. Lin sighed, waved them inside. Then come quickly. But this isn't going to be easy. The inside of Ridgepoint 7 was warmer, filled with old lights and quiet voices. Dozens of ex-soldiers, workers, and outlaws lived here now, people tired of running. Lin led them to a back room, a safe place, full of old maps and weapons. Verakai placed Tiri on a cot. He hadn't woken up yet. What's wrong with him? Lin asked. He used some kind of power, Cal said. Blew out a bounty hunter's armor with just a scream. Lin blinked. That's not normal. He's half human, half Marnock, Verakai said quietly. And the Union wants him dead. Lin leaned against the wall, arms crossed. So let me guess. You're here because the Union found out he exists, and now they're sending ghosts to clean up the mess. Cal nodded. They're not just cleaning. They're erasing. Lin looked at Tiri again. This child, he's a signal. More than that, Verakai said. He's proof we don't have to keep fighting. Lin gave a bitter laugh. You think they care about proof? No, Cal said. But someone out there might. If we can get him off-world, if we can broadcast what he is, it could change everything. You'll start a war, Lin warned. Maybe, Cal said. Or stop the next one. Before anyone could answer, the lights flickered. An alarm blared. Lin grabbed her rifle. They found us. How? Cal growled. They must have tagged your ship. Outside, shadows moved in the canyon. Quiet figures, armored and fast. Not Union soldiers. Black ops. No names. No mercy, no rules. They're not here to capture, Cal said. They're here to kill. Lin looked at the boy, then at Cal. I hope you still remember how to fight. Cal picked up a shotgun from the rack. I never forgot. Verakai touched her son's face. Please wake up, she whispered. We need you now. Tiri's fingers twitched. And outside, the shadows closed in. Silence fell over the rocky moon. The bounty hunter lay still, smoke rising from the cracks in its armor. Its helmet was shattered, sparks flickered from the inside. It wasn't dead, but it wasn't moving either. Tiri stood there, breathing. Hard, his glowing eyes slowly fading back to normal. Then he looked at Cal. And collapsed. Verakai rushed out of the ship and caught her son just before he hit the ground. What happened to him? She cried. Is he hurt? Cal dropped his broken rifle and knelt beside them. No, he said, placing a hand on the boy's chest. Just drained. That scream. That was some kind of pulse, energy, sound. I've never seen anything like it. He's just a child, Verakai said. How could he? He's not just a child, Cal interrupted. He's something new. Something dangerous. She looked at him sharply. He's not dangerous. Cal met her eyes. I meant. To them, not to us. They carried Tiri back into the ship and laid him on a bed. His breathing was steady now. Calm. But whatever power had come from him, it wasn't normal. Verakai watched her son sleep, brushing dust from his hair. His father once told me, she whispered, that if the war ended, the next war would be born from children like ours. Cal turned to her slowly. Children. Like him? She nodded. He's part Marnock, part human. Cal raised an eyebrow. Wait, what? Verakai looked down. My husband Durokai, he saved you, yes. But he also worked on something secret during the war. He called it the Bridge Project. He believed the future would not belong to one race, but both. Cal leaned back, thinking, so Tiri is proof, she nodded. A living symbol. That's why the Union wants him silenced. That's why they're hiring hunters. Cal walked to the console. The scanner beeped again. 3 new blips. Incoming. Fast. Then. We don't have time, he said. We need to move, but the ship's damaged. I can patch it.
Enough to lift off, but we can't go far. Where will we go? Cal stared at the blinking screen. There's a system, he said slowly. Old mining colony, off-grid. No Union presence. If we make it there, I know someone who might help. Varakai touched his arm. Why are you doing this? You've already done more than anyone. Cal didn't answer right away. Then he looked at her, and his voice was quiet. I've buried too many good people. I'm not letting that boy be one of them. Outside, Cal worked fast. Smoke still rose from the damaged engine, but he forced it to restart. His hands were burned. His body ached. But he didn't stop. Inside the ship, Varakai wrapped Tiri in blankets. He hadn't woken yet, but his face was peaceful, she whispered. To him, ancient words in the Marnuk tongue, lullabies of stars and peace. Then the alarm sounded. Again, the hunters were close. Cal ran inside. They're coming in fast. We need to fly now. He jumped into the cockpit. Varakai strapped in beside him, holding her son tight. The engine roared, louder than before. The ship shook. Then it lifted. Dust blasted across the surface. Behind them, 3 ships dropped from the clouds, sleek, dark, deadly. They opened fire. Cal swerved hard, dodging one blast, then another. The old ship groaned but held. Hang on, he yelled. This is gonna get ugly. As the stars rushed toward them, Varakai looked down at her son and whispered, They're afraid of you, my child, because they know you don't belong to their future. You are the future. The wrecked ship sat half buried in dust and rock. Smoke rose from the damaged engine, and sparks snapped in the air. Cal moved slowly, checking for damage. His ribs hurt, his right hand was bleeding, and one of the landing gears was crushed. But he was alive. And so were they. Tiri was curled in Varakai's arms, shaken but safe. She looked at Cal with fear in her eyes. Who followed us? She asked. Cal didn't answer right away. He moved to the scanner, hit a few buttons, and stared at the screen. One ship, no ID, no Union signal. But it was coming down fast. And it wasn't just watching. It's not Union, Cal said finally. Worse? Worse? Varakai whispered. Private. Hunter, he said. Probably hired, probably expensive. But why us? She asked. I have nothing. I'm just a widow. Cal turned to her slowly. Not anymore, he said. You're a problem. She frowned. What does that mean? It means someone in the Union doesn't want you talking to anyone. Maybe your husband knew something. Maybe you know something without even realizing. You don't have to know. You just have to be alive. Outside, the hunter ship began landing. A soft rumble shook the ground. Cal stood up, pulled open floor panel, and grabbed the long black rifle from a hidden locker. You two stay low. Don't come out unless I say so. Varakai grabbed his arm. You can't fight them alone. I won't be alone, he said, loading the rifle. I've got one hell of a reason now. Tiri looked up. For the first time in days, his lips moved. Don't go. Varakai froze. She looked down at her son. Tiri? He stared at Cal. Don't let them take us, he whispered. Cal heard it too, and he gave a small nod. I won't, kid. He stepped out of the ship, into the sharp wind of the moon's surface. Red dust swirled around him. The hunter ship was just 100 meters away now. Its landing gear hissed as it touched the ground. A tall figure stepped out. Silver armor, a long black coat. Helmet with red eyes. A professional. Cal recognized the stance. Bounty hunter, he muttered. The figure raised a speaker. You have something that doesn't belong to you, human. Turn over the Marnok female and the hybrid child. Cal didn't blink. They don't belong to anyone. This is not a request. I am paid to collect, not to negotiate. Cal took one step forward. Rifle ready, then get ready to fail. The bounty hunter didn't speak again.
Instead, it raised its weapon and fired. Cal dived behind a rock. The blast hit where he stood just a second before. He rolled, came up and returned fire. The hunter's shield flared, absorbing the hit. Inside the ship, Verakai watched through a crack in the hull. Her heart raced. She had never seen a human fight like this. Not since the war. Not like this. He moved like a soldier. He moved like death. But he was just one man. Another blast sent him flying. His rifle broke. He landed hard, coughing blood. The bounty hunter walked closer. Last chance, it said, but before it could fire, a sharp scream filled the air. Not from Cal, not from Verakai, from Tiri, a strange sound, high-pitched, painful, piercing. The bounty hunter froze. Its armor sparked, its helmet cracked. It staggered back, grabbing its ears, and fell to its knees. Cal looked up in shock. Tiri, what did you just do? The child stepped out of the ship, eyes glowing bright green. His small hands were clenched. The air around him pulsed like a storm. Something inside him had awakened. And the hunter wasn't moving anymore. Verakai held her son tightly as they followed the strange human down the steel corridors of Trade Union Station. The crowd whispered behind them. Some were shocked, some laughed. Others looked afraid, but no one dared to stop him. Cal Riker walked like he belonged anywhere. Even among enemies, he didn't talk much. He didn't explain why he chose her. He just kept walking until they reached Dock 12. A small ship waited there. Old, battle-scarred, but still flying. It had no markings, just black paint and a dented ramp. Verakai could feel something inside the ship. Not tech. Not weapons. Memories. Cal pressed his hand to the scanner. The ramp opened with a hiss. This is home, he said. For now. Verakai looked unsure, but Tiri moved forward first. He walked up the ramp like he trusted the man. Like he had already decided. Inside, the ship was warm, simple, clean. There were 3 beds, a small kitchen, and a cockpit full of blinking lights. It didn't feel like a warship. It felt like a place to rest, to hide. Why? Verakai asked at last, her voice soft. Why me? Cal didn't answer right away. He sat down, took off his gloves, and looked at his hands. I owe a promise, he said. Long time ago. She frowned. You knew my husband? He gave a short nod. Captain Urokai. He spared me. Back during the Marnock retreat at Delta. Crag, her eyes widened. I thought no humans survived that battle. Almost none, Cal said. He saw I was wounded. Told his crew to leave me. He said, one day you'll repay this life. Then he vanished into the flames. Verakai sat down, shaking slightly. He never told me. Cal stood. His voice turned cold. Your people tried to erase that moment, but I never forgot. And now you're the last link to a good man. Tiri crawled into one of the beds, curling up quietly. Cal looked at him. What's wrong with the kid? He doesn't speak, she said. Not since the bomb. I'll fix that, Cal said, or die trying. Suddenly, the ship shook. Red lights flashed. A loud beep echoed from the console. Incoming transmission. Cal ran to the controls. A scrambled voice filled the room. Unmarked vessel. You took a protected asset. Turn back or be fired upon. Verakai's eyes widened. They're coming for us? Cal grinned. Yeah, they're mad I didn't play by their rules. Outside the docking window, 2 Union patrol ships approached fast. He flipped switches, fired the engines, and looked back at her. Strap in. This is gonna be bumpy. The ship roared to life. Gravity shifted. Tiri held on tight. Verakai had no time to ask questions. Alarms screamed as the station's cannons locked onto them. One shot missed. The next one didn't. The blast hit their left engine. Sparks flew. Smoke filled the cabin. Cal grunted, fighting with the controls.
We're not gonna make it. Verakai cried. Trust me. Cal growled. He pushed the ship downward into the atmosphere of a nearby moon. Flames lit up around them as they entered too fast. The whole ship shook. Panels ripped loose. Metal groaned. But they didn't stop. At the last second, Cal fired reverse thrusters, and the ship crashed hard into rocky soil, skidding, spinning, finally slamming into a jagged cliff. Then, silence. Everything stopped. Smoke, dust, sparks. But they were alive. Barely. Cal pulled himself up, bleeding, breathing hard. Welcome to nowhere, he said. And above them, high in the sky, a new light appeared, one that wasn't a star. A hunter ship. Someone had followed them. Someone not from the Union. Someone who wanted Verakai dead. The war ended 5 years ago. But for her, the pain never stopped. She stood alone in the giant glass hall of the trade union station, one of the last alien survivors of the Marnock Empire. Her name was Verakai, once the wife of a respected Marnock captain. Now she was nothing but a forgotten widow in a cold galaxy. The Union had promised peace. They had promised to protect the war widows, those left behind after the human Marnock war. But those were just empty words. Every alien widow had been sent to the station, placed on display like broken furniture with a price tag and a fake smile. They were told someone would come. Someone would take them in, care for them, give them a second chance. But no one came for Verakai. Day after day, others were chosen. Younger ones, prettier ones. Even a few of her friends got lucky and were sent off to wealthy traders or lonely colony leaders. But she was always left behind. She wasn't young anymore. She wasn't full of life or laughter, and she had a child, a small silent boy, with glowing green eyes and pale gray skin. His name was Thierry. He had not spoken since his father's ship exploded. He just stared at people who came and left, never stopping for him, never smiling. Most buyers wanted one thing: someone beautiful, someone obedient, someone without a child. Verakai had none of those things. She held her boy tight every night, sleeping on a cold bunk behind a plastic curtain. Guards walked past without looking. Food was dry and tasteless. Hope was a joke. Until he walked. And he didn't look like a rich man. His clothes were plain. His boots were dirty. He had a scar on his jaw and one eye that glowed with an artificial lens. But he walked like a soldier, like someone who had seen things and survived. His name was Cal Riker, a human, a war veteran. A loner. When he entered the hall, the agents rushed to him. They showed him files, names, photos, the best of what was left. He ignored them. His eyes scanned the room like he was looking for someone he already knew. He walked past every smile, every fake pose, until he reached the very back of the hall, where she stood, where no one ever looked. Verakai didn't move. She had learned not to hope, not to dream. Thierry peeked from behind her legs, his eyes wide. Cal looked at him first, not her, and did something no other buyer had ever done. He knelt down. "Hey, little guy," he said softly. "You hungry?" Thierry didn't speak, but his hand reached out, just a little. Cal smiled, slow and gentle. Then he stood and faced Verakai. His voice was calm but clear. "I'll take both." The room went quiet. Agents froze. One laughed nervously. "Sir, are you sure?" They asked. "I know who she is," Cal said. "And I said what I said." They tried to warn him. She was not useful, not young. She had trauma. And a child. He didn't care. And that's when something strange happened. The hall lights flickered. A low alarm buzzed. A security drone whirred past, chasing a shadow near the docks. Chaos was rising outside the station. But inside that moment, Verakai's world changed. For the first time in years, someone looked at her like she mattered, and she had no idea. That this man, this human, was hiding a secret that could shake the stars.